This is the Real Mom Hub. Keep listening for relatable content.
Hey everyone, Callie here. Just wanted to give you a PSA. Number one, if you are our father or father-in-laws or frankly anybody that doesn't want to hear about physical intimacy postpartum, aka hear about sex postpartum, I would stop listening and we can chat on the phone if you want to hear our voice. And then secondly, we do dive into mental health struggles postpartum. We list some intrusive thoughts and just dive into other things that were really challenging for us. So feel free to skip that section or the episode altogether if that's not helpful for you. And we'll be back with another guest next week.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
You know, I've been better, but I've also been worse. We're almost over the COVID.
I could say the same, actually.
You're also almost over the COVID that we gave you.
Yeah, and that's not really the issue, actually. I mean, maybe, because we're all a little tired from it, but I forgot it was picture day at Charlie's school this morning and was feeling really badly about that. Just it felt like a mom fail, which is silly, because, there's other things that are really a lot more important that I have done well, but yeah, that was rough. And then my dog got her period for the first time. It's not a period, but whatever it is in a dog.
It's not a period. What is it? We call it in heat. It's the same thing.
Or season. Well, but they're fertile while they're bleeding, I think.
Oh.
We might need to fact check that. But
how?
Isn't that funny?
No. Really?
So, yeah, she's bleeding downstairs, and there was some other stuff that happened. And here we are. But I am excited to talk about this because thinking about postpartum in the midst of my chaos this morning, I was like, that actually put it in perspective.
Oh,
my chaos isn't as bad.
True postpartum was very fresh and, is no longer happening.
Right. True postpartum is worse or harder. I should say harder than this morning is. So here we are.
That's a really good reminder. Yeah. I think part of my attitude this morning is that, so he woke up at 1 and finally came into our bed because I just couldn't get him back down. And he's now 1. And I guess that brings me to an important housekeeping point. We should clue everyone into the fact that our timing is going to be a little all over the place with these first episodes because you and I started having these conversations with the intention of launching this podcast back in March.
Forever ago.
Yeah. And it
March?
is now,
okay.
It's now August or October. It's October, folks. And so we'll be a little all over the place. But as we stand today, in the middle of October, Kieran's 14 months. And Nora's, what, does that make her 16 months?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So last time we talked about postpartum, we were in the throes of it. I was 6 months postpartum. You were 8 months postpartum, 9 months postpartum.
8. I guess that
whatever.
Doesn't check
I don't
out.
know. And, other than it's not a cute baby screaming anymore. He's adorable. He keeps getting cuter, obviously, in the middle of the night. But he now has agency as a small human. So when we bring him into bed, it was maybe 1:15. And then for the rest of the night, I think he's got to be teething or something because all he wanted was the boob. And when he's in between us right now, that means I would finally drift off to sleep a little more. And he would bludgeon me in the face, with his feet or his hand, or he'd pull my hair, or he'd pull my shoulder over. And literally, he knows where my boobs are. He knows how to literally go for them with his opposable thumb skills.
Do you wish that maybe he didn't have those?
You know what? I don't think I was of a presence enough to think about his thumbs. It was a visceral, instinctual reaction all night long of wow, there's a tiny human just rummaging at my breasts right now. And we're kind of weaning a little bit. So it's not even he was getting any milk out of them.
Maybe I wasn't listening when you started why he was in your bed. And this is not a giving you advice. I really am curious, and I feel like it will be good for other moms probably to hear this. Why have you not just let him figure his shit out? Did you
really
say that?
Good. No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that because we were in this rhythm of, okay, he would wake up at 3 or 4 we just bring him into bed with us because it was easy. I'd feed him and I'd basically fall asleep feeding him. And then we'd all wake up at like 6:30 or 7. It was fine. It was seamless for months. It's really more recent where he's just learning so many more skills, teething, who knows. It's a problem. Yeah. I mean, I would be sleep training his ass this weekend, except we're going to have guests in town.
So next week is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and you know what? This is just really helpful for me to process out loud because I've just like got a really shitty attitude today. And listening to this playback, I'm like, well, Emily, you've made a lot of consistent choices up until this point. So maybe it's time to take some agency in your own life.
I mean, I just think that sounds horrible. Yeah. And I think I would be you because I hated the sleep training. However, Kevin put his foot down pretty early. And I am thankful for that because I would not have done it. And he was like, no, you can sleep in another room. I'll do it. But this is happening.
Good on Kevin. I don't know what our problem is. I think I just was like, well, if we were all in a cave, what would we be doing? You know, like if he just wants to be comforted and loved, and we're in a position to do that.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's how I feel. And we can hold multitudes, right? I feel that way. And I'm really grateful that Kevin put his foot down. So, remember how I told you to listen to that Brandy Carlisle song, The Mother?
Oh, I haven't done it yet.
That's fine.
Cry.
Maybe I shouldn't ruin it, but like one of the lines is like, first thing that you took from me was selfishness and sleep. And even there, I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful.
I love that song so much. I don't think I've ever listened. I haven't listened to it since becoming a mom.
Yeah, it's life-changing. It's not. It's beautiful, though, listening to it after having a baby.
For our listeners, what's the name of the song?
The Mother by Brandy Carlisle. It's really beautiful. So we're talking postpartum part 2, and it's, coming out pretty close together after postpartum part 1. However, we recorded very far apart, so we are remembering. I was going to say if it's not accurate, my apologies, but these are things that are pretty visceral memories for me.
Oh, so things that you're talking about you would still classify them as postpartum.
Oh, yeah. What were you planning on talking about?
Well, I was planning on asking you when postpartum ends. When are we through it? I mean, we could Google this, but I felt like there was a huge shift when he turned 1, which was 2 months ago. I mean, that's a whole year.
Yeah, it's a little wishy-washy, but it's got to be different for everyone, too.
Yeah, I think that was more my point. We've all probably got different barometers depending on the kid, depending on your situation, what the hell your hormones are doing at that time in your life.
Oh, because something I didn't put down but we should talk about is intense weaning hormone changes. And I don't notice them so much, but because for me it's like my period comes back around the time that my kids have both started cutting back with nursing. So I've always blamed it on the period coming back. But I have a good friend who is weaning. She had like vision loss. Like crazy hormone stuff from weaning. Yeah. Okay, so are we supposed to pick a time right now when postpartum ends?
No, I don't think you can do that. The whole theme is love notes to your future postpartum self. So I guess I've just identified some milestones for me next time around where it's like, you know what? Maybe don't worry about this until this time.
Okay.
Or, you know what? You're at this point. It's going to be better. Okay. Or at least acknowledging that a switch kicked in at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Where you don't ever feel like you're making progress, but at a certain point you wake up and you're like, wow, you know what? This wouldn't have happened this way 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago.
It is funny.
We're moving forward.
I think a switch does flip on many things, which it is so gradual, and yet there are those moments of realizing like, oh, I'm through that, which are really nice.
Yeah.
So we left off last time saying we were going to talk about sex, so should we dive right in?
Yeah. I mean, that's an ongoing journey.
Yeah.
Why don't we lead with yours?
Okay.
Let's talk about your sex life, Callie.
Perfect. Love that. Okay, so I'll just put a disclaimer out. If you are someone that doesn't want to listen to this part of the conversation, we're going to talk about sex now. Pause. Grand pause. Oh, look how cute my shirt is.
Oh, it's all blurry. Wait, I can't see. Oh, it's so... Wait, I love that shirt.
Isn't that
it's really
cute?
It's
and
so cute.
I extra love it because I thrifted it in Boulder visiting a friend. And it's a wool J. Crew shirt. with a llama wearing a scarf.
Oh,
That's
I was going to
really
ask you if it's a llama or an alpaca.
It's a llama. Oh.
Oh.
Couldn't
I
tell
don't
you. It's interesting. I was thinking back to both kids. Postpartum, it's been a pretty similar experience. I crave the physical closeness. So I want to have sex like even before my 6-week appointment.
That blows my mind.
But
Tell me more about that.
yes, but I don't know that it's actually sex I'm craving. I think it's like intimate physical touch.
Yeah,
And-
that's still insane to me when you have a baby plastered to you.
Oh, I just like want the snuggles. Like early on, like I want to feel that closeness with Kevin. Like very deeply early on. But
So like a little spooning doesn't do it?
No, like I want something deeper than that. Like I
Wow.
want something kind of intense. I think because I've just been through this intense. I mean, childbirth is so intense. Like I almost feel like spooning is just like too fluffy for what I need. I'm in that like raw primal stage where I want like just something more intense.
Okay.
And yet it's not really sex. So it's sort of a strange thing for me that first chunk of time.
I remember with Charlie, you saying you hoped you'd be cleared or being excited that you were cleared for sex or something at your 6th week. And I had not been pregnant or had a child at that point. And I remember being like, whoa, that seems really early. Is that normal? Is that like, are you fine now? You just ejected a human out of your body. Are you okay?
Well,
And then having a kid and then hearing a similar thing from you with Nora, number 2 for you, I'm still so mind blown.
so that's the other weird part is like I did have pretty legit tearing with Charlie. It was pretty minor with Nora, so that was a bit different. But Charlie, I was in a lot of pain for a long time. And so even when I was cleared, I mean, I remember that appointment when they were taking stitches out and like checking everything was brutal. I mean, it was so painful still at 6 months or 6 weeks. Like I couldn't have sex, I guess is my point. Like I couldn't have.
And you should say penetrative sex too. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
So should we clarify
even,
that that's what you were craving also?
Yes,
From an intimate standpoint?
From an intimate, like as close as possible. But I didn't want to be touched necessarily when I was remembering that it was painful. You know, like it was just so confusing because there was so much pain and yet I was craving that like emotional physical closeness because they do kind of come handed. Physical touch is just a huge love language for me. It's probably number one. So I was craving that in a very intense way, and yet my body was like, no. So that's a whole thing. Also, by the time I was cleared, it is so fleeting for me. It would be this, 5 minutes of intense, like I'm ready to have sex. And then by the time the kids are asleep or whatever task is done, I was like, don't touch me.
Was this when you were having hormonal shifts pretty rapidly in postpartum?
Oh yeah, this is postpartum.
Is that like yesterday?
Well, no, I suppose that's also yesterday. Yeah. Good point. All right, that's
I was
not
just
postpartum specific, unfortunately. The other really big thing that does pass, but was horrifying to me with Charlie, was leaking nipples during sex. Like breast milk spewing during sex.
Funny.
You did not have that?
I honestly wouldn't know.
Oh.
Because I'm so touched out, like specifically my nipples.
Yeah.
That like Kyle is so excited when I get out of the shower and I don't have a bra on.
just a little peek.
Yeah, no, we would be like and sex has been a really big problem for us. So we'll dig into that in the future. But yeah, it would be like bra on, unfortunately, because it would be just uncomfortable to have it off. Reason number 5,000, where maybe like it's time to wean my baby, which will break my heart. But like, oh my God, we've made it 14 months, I think.
Yeah. So I would like have just like breast milk everywhere.
Is this like a spurt or like a gentle leak? Like, what are we talking about? Like, did you ever like shoot it up into his eyeball? Because that's a funny picture for me.
Probably. That I should ask because that probably has happened for sure. Yeah, I mean, both and. Like, it hasn't been as much with Nora, but definitely with Charlie, it was just like, I feel like every time. And it was just this huge mental hurdle for me because I could finally be in the mood, which would be really hard to get there. Like, finally the stars align and this is happening for me, and then I feel a letdown. Like,
No.
oh yeah, that's so confusing. That's horrible.
We need to have an expert on to just explain all of this to us.
Yes, because for a second it's quite horrifying that I'm having this response to my baby while I'm making love to my husband. Like, it just seems...
Your baby's not there.
Right, that's the problem. Why am I letting down?
It's a release.
Yeah, still feels effed
I mean,
up.
sex, I think when it's good, it's a full body experience. What, are you going to compartmentalize that place in your body that's so connected to literally everything else, especially
Yes.
your milk ducts? I don't know.
Yes. Oh, shoot. I sure am. My microphone's very precariously perched right here. I think I need a bigger desk.
Maybe that's why your body extra just got super squirty.
Mm.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I will say, and then we're going to move on to your views on this, but I think with Charlie it was harder because Kevin had to express my milk manually in the hospital because the pump wasn't working and Charlie wouldn't latch, and I was very stubborn about only giving him colostrum. And so I couldn't figure out how to express it myself. So Kevin just expressed milk for days. So that's this new sensation that's so unsexy and just needs to happen. And then I'm remembering that while we're having sex later. It's just one of those things that was a pretty big mental hurdle for me. But
is this where
that goes away, and it was better with Nora. Okay, go ahead.
What goes away? Your memories?
My breast spurting milk during sex.
Oh, specifically. Okay. Yeah. Time heals all. I just really feel strongly that, I'm not really ready to have another baby. We have not started trying, for the world. But oh my God, do I just kind of want to get these early years out of the way? Because how do you cope with all of this all the time when you're on such a roller coaster for years? Because it is your body just performing Olympic feats of strength. It's the craziest experience, and it leaks into every single piece of your life. No piece of your personhood is safe from this experience. It's completely transformative. And that includes your sex life. It includes your relationship with your spouse.
Yeah. And everybody else in your life.
And, right.
That's definitely why we had Nora. It wasn't right away. They have a 2-year distance, but because it's just so hard.
It's all consuming.
Yeah, I can't imagine stringing it out, but so many people do and seem very joyful about it. So I'd really like to learn how they achieve that.
Must be a lesson in letting go that I have not learned yet or internalized yet.
All right. How about you? Are you ready? Are you spiritually prepared to talk about this?
Yeah. I think this is a conversation that I would have loved to hear years ago. And before getting pregnant even.
Would you have ever gotten pregnant?
Yeah. Yes. There are just so many societal perceptions, I think, that are false about what happens to your body when you give birth. When I'm scrolling through social, I've sometimes come across questions from expecting mothers saying, will I ever be able to have sex again? Will my body go back to what it was again? So that was what was in my mind when I got pregnant, is my problem will be, oh my gosh, if I choose to have multiple kids, is there going to be anything tight down there anymore? I think, and I know it's a muscle. My brain knows that's not going to be the case, but that was buried somewhere in my mind if I had to choose an expectation for my body that I was feeling at that time. And I should back up a little bit. Probably for the past 5 years, we've struggled intimately because I've experienced pain during sex, which kind of gradually came on years into our relationship. It
That's
worsened.
bizarre.
Well, and it was related to stress. But I mean,
Wow.
I read the books. Kyle is just an exceptional partner in every way, and this is not excluded from that. So we were having a ton of conversations. We would have sex, and it would, there'd have to be so much lead up to it so that it was comfortable for me. And then we'd do a postmortem afterwards, what worked, what didn't work. Oh my God, it was exhausting. It was like, how do you keep this up? It was also devastating. So that was, I think, I'm just painting the context. That was the first time I felt actually betrayed by my body. And that was before my delivery, my birth. I loved sex. I loved being intimate with him in that way. So to want something and then have my body behave so differently felt like a betrayal. And this is something I wish I would have addressed before I got pregnant, but I didn't. I think it's a hard thing to know how to combat because there are so many factors involved in sex. Fast forward to me being pregnant, though, I've had that experience. Kyle and I thankfully have laid a foundation of extreme trust and conversation and curiosity and learning around this issue. But I'm not gonna lie, when I was pregnant, I was like, oh man, you know what? When I give birth, this is probably gonna be awesome. It's probably gonna solve my problem, if anything. If a baby can shoot out of my vagina, no way am I gonna have problems with a penis.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah, I was like, all right, you know what? This is gonna be a blessing in this situation. Fast forward to my 54-hour labor, hours and hours of pushing, like almost crowning, like they could see the head for hours. And then, preeclampsia shows up and then cesarean hemorrhaging, it was a disaster. In my body, I just felt so ravaged after that honestly, if we're talking about sex postpartum, I wasn't even ready to try until 4 months postpartum. And even then it was this huge buildup. It was like an emotional buildup. I really had to get there. My incision still bothered me at this point. Like it was still painful. And I just remember the first time we tried, we were in a hotel room in Hawaii and he literally couldn't get more than the tip in, like not even the tip. Like he literally couldn't get it in. And it hurt so badly. We tried for quite a while. We went back to all the things that we knew to try. And it literally, I felt like my body was giving no quarter. So that was my first experience. And I remember I just cried afterwards. I was like, wow, what is wrong with my body? What is wrong with me? Why is this a problem? I don't understand. And it took me over 6 months to finally get myself into PT, a physical therapist. I fully recommend every single woman find a pelvic floor therapist.
I mean,
no matter what your birth was. Or even if you're not pregnant, if you haven't given birth. I would equate this to, I remember I think I just hit puberty or something. And mom suggested, she's like, you know what, you should know what you look like down there. When you have a minute by yourself, like take a mirror, you should figure out what's going on down there. Mm-hmm. Which was great advice. Yeah. I think most women have done that. This is like that. You should know what is going on in there, how it relates to each other. I learned so much. Specifically like cesarean moms. It never would have occurred to me to address my pelvic floor because he came out through an incision.
Right.
She said, my pelvic floor therapist, when I showed up, she looked at me and she was like, oh, my notes, you were a cesarean patient. And I was like, well, yeah, I am. She goes, well, you're wearing like jeans, like you've got a waistband. I was like, oh yeah. She's like, when did you give birth? And I was like, I don't know, 7-8 months ago. And she was like, oh, so sorry. My notes. Yes, that's how you were referred to me. I was confused because there's this new practice where I'm seeing any mother who had a cesarean 6 weeks after to start doing this work.
That's amazing.
And I learned later it's because you have a ton of scar tissue and you have separate layers of scar tissue within your body. So your muscles have been pulled and restretched and they're reforming. At one point on the operating table, my uterus was outside of my body and then put back in along with all these other things. Everything is different down there. She was talking to me about fascia work, which is the membrane that's, I'm not a medical expert, but from my understanding, it surrounds all of your muscles. It's kind of what keeps all your insides together, but yet it connects everything. So anyways, now I'm on a long soapbox, but literally I would go for these internal PT sessions where she would stretch and rework. I would feel twinges in my scar tissue from the internal work she was doing down there. Certain points, I would feel it in the soles of my feet. Like everything is so connected. And most of the really important work that we were doing was rewiring my brain to help it stop having these alarm bells go off when anything entered down there, because it was clearly such a sensitive place for me.
Yeah.
She could also confirm, yeah, you're actually just a tiny person. And unfortunately for you, these really sensitive, tiny, thin muscles kind of back up against bone. In a lot of other women, there's a lot more room between a penis and their actual bone. For you, it's pretty much right there. So you just have to be really cautious.
That makes so much sense. Because I had really painful sex for the first, like, chunk of our marriage, actually. Like, long time. Like, that was really hard. And then it finally stopped being painful. We had Charlie, and then actually during pregnancy it was okay. But, I mean, I talked about really wanting to have sex, but don't get me wrong, it was so painful for months and months and months. And, like, I could feel where my scar was from the tear, and that is what would burn until we actually, like, fully penetrated. And then, like, that, I mean, how do you explain that pain? For me, it was a lot of burn, but it was also just, like, feeling like almost like ripping in there. Like, and we were going so slow, like, careful, that's fascinating.
So part of the work I did with my PT was she would ask me about the pain level and I'd have to describe it the whole time. And so having the burning is what I felt also. Sometimes it would be very acute. And for me, my brain would register as like, this is wrong. Something's really wrong here.
Yeah.
Because I know what sex feels like without the pain. So what is this? And she would be like, well, this is what's happening in here. This is probably how your brain is registering it. So kind of recataloging these feelings cerebrally.
She was doing mental therapy and physical therapy at one time.
Mental, emotional, yeah. And I'm really fascinated to see how other PTs would handle it. I don't know if this is her specific brand or if that's something all pelvic floor therapists do. It was really amazing and a gift to my marriage that I should have pursued years ago.
I mean, I only went to one session and I should go back. But even that was just so incredibly helpful because she explained that, like, actually I thought I had really weak pelvic floor muscles because I, like, had incontinence issues, like, depending on my cycle, it's whatever. And she told me that actually a lot of my muscles are too tight, so they can't become strong enough because you can't strengthen a tight muscle, which was fascinating. And, like, even the first time she asked me to, like, engage a certain group of muscles, I, like, thought I was doing it. And she was like, so that was your butt?
Yeah, I could not isolate these muscles that she was asking me to. She had to teach me how to do that.
Yeah.
And I want to rewind. And you just said, oh, I have incontinence certain times of my cycle. It's whatever. It's not whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be normal. We shouldn't normalize it. One reason I want to have this conversation is I think it is so important to put it out into the world because it's not sexy. It's not glamorous. It's a really hard thing, I think, as a woman to hear. Like, I would not want, like, picturing where I'm at today and the pain that has ensued and all of the work, like, literally I have dilators right now. Like, I do muscular work on my own in order for us to have sex, not even once a week right now. And that's devastating to me for Kyle as well, because his love language primarily is physical touch. I mean, the good news is there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And that's why I think it's really important to have these conversations, but it's heartbreaking to me that there's so much work involved when our society makes it look easy. And there are really specific narratives around how sex should look, your value as a partner in terms of how sexy you are, and I think those are really harmful messages when you look at the reality of life. So I think maybe if I had heard this years ago, it would have been the kick in the butt that I needed to get myself to PT before I had, a baby and other things in my life that would make it harder to go down this journey.
Yeah. And I will say you're just a lot more, you were in a much better financial place to do that. And I only went to one session because I didn't want to spend the money because we're, like, not wanting to, do anything extra. And it is worth the money for sure. But I could see for a lot of women like that not feeling like it's worth it. But
well, and I will say one session doesn't really do much if you're working on muscles. So it's informative, but if you want to see an actual transformation, which is what you would pay for, you need to go regularly and you need to do the work between the sessions.
But I will say, like, you know, if you can't be proactive and do that before financially,
Mm.
I think even doing the work after and just even experiencing childbirth together and then having to talk about that, like, sex has become more beautiful for us. Also, like, just better sex. I think having to have those conversations, it's a good light at the end of the tunnel because I think it makes it better for a lot of people, I would guess, once you actually work through it.
Yeah. Yes. I hope. Yeah. It's just the conversations you don't hear about often.
Yeah, and they're really important.
They are. And I will not say our sex is better. It's not. It's fully worse than before I got pregnant. But we're moving forward, which is great. And Kyle, I mean, I talked about being feral postpartum. I think that's just our family still, you know, a year plus in. He is so earthy and just obsessed with my naked body and has been since Kieran was born.
That's incredible.
Just doesn't give a fuck
What the stars
anymore about, like, I don't even know, modesty or personal restraint or what I might think of him. He's just like, I've seen what you can do, like what your body can do, and we've gone through this huge earthy thing together. He's like, this is what I want.
Incredible.
And I'm just right now trying not to stifle it because it's really fun. It's a really fun development that I didn't see coming, that I'm excited to enjoy once my body is capable of it.
So I wonder if that's something like just therapy would help also.
Which piece?
Just you not feeling ready and like the pain still, just after, like I would have assumed the pain is all just physical, but after hearing about your PT, you know, I'm like, there's still probably some trauma from that birth. I mean, I'm sure there is.
Yeah, or the years leading up to the birth where we were having sex that was often painful. I mean, so when this was first, it probably had been a year of us having uncomfortable, for me, sex. And the person I am, I was like, okay, I am not going to have a bad sex life. I'm going to have an exceptional sex life when I'm in my 80s. So you know what we're going to do? For the next month, we're going to have sex every single day until we just get this right. And like, we're having a bad day, if we're busy, like whatever. You don't get what you don't prioritize. And
that's hilarious.
Also, it was not a good solution, I've learned. Bad solution. It was not. You know, like I tend to bulldoze the things that I want into being, and that was not a good place to do that. So
that's funny. You know what else is funny? I'm going to request that our husbands listen to this episode before we release because I want to make sure that they're comfy with whatever we're talking about. But that does mean that they get to listen to the other couple's sex life and they don't get to opt out of this episode, which is making me giggle a little bit. Well, that was a lot. Do you feel like you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I was thinking about the husband stitch this morning.
The what?
The husband stitch. Have you heard of this?
No.
Oh, it's been a practice for decades where after you give birth and maybe you've had an episiotomy, thank God those are going out of style. They'll add an extra stitch in the hospital when they're stitching you back up to make you tighter for your husband. Have you never heard this before?
I want to throw up.
It still happens today. It's a thing.
Like an extra stitch they didn't need to do?
Correct.
But that's not where it matters for you to be tight.
Yeah, but this is the problem with the medical field. Western medicine, traditional medicine in the U.S.
Are you sure?
Has been male dominated. Look it up. Literally look it up. Has been male dominated for centuries. And this is one of the reasons where I'm like, yeah, I actually I don't care how qualified you are. I want a female OB, midwife, whatever. If we're talking about my personal care.
Okay, thankfully AI says it's outdated procedure with no medical benefit, but it is saying it's like a very legit thing.
Yeah, I can't believe you never heard of this.
No. Wow.
Well, it just ties into this perception that we have of women who've had, you know, multiple children being kind of used up, stretched out. I mean, there are so many like stretched out vagina jokes. And so it just never occurred to me that the opposite could actually happen from birth.
Yeah. No, that's so true.
And I think it's pretty common.
Also, on the flip side, incredible how elastic our bodies are. Maybe that's the wrong word, but how we can really just like do the work to kind of change what's going on. And different body structures and how they all work together. It's just fascinating. But it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Like, why is my butt non-existent? I don't think I've had a flabbier butt in my whole life. And it's because I'm not working out. I'm just going for long walks.
I was just going to say, I mean, I could probably tell you.
I'm just like, no, but it's a whole thing. Like a mom butt. I think the way we're using our bodies right now, it's a whole thing.
Well, yeah, because when are you going to make the time? Yeah. Okay, should we just like start heavy and then...
I think we did.
We did, but I have some things on intrusive thoughts and mental health. Maybe we should...
let's just keep going.
You sure we shouldn't like sandwich? Okay.
Well, did you have something funny about postpartum? Let's go.
All right, another disclaimer. If you don't want to hear about intrusive thoughts, I would also stop listening. Do you think it's helpful for me to list what mine were or just say that I had them?
Oh, God. I mean, sure, go for it.
Okay.
I'm going to shut my ears real quick.
Yeah, so shut your ears if you want. So with Nora, with Charlie. So with number one, it was car accidents, which I think is pretty common. It was like very vehicle involved or like this car is going to run onto the sidewalk and kill us. It was like very, machinery, just like heavy machinery, farm equipment, like even dad's tractor, just with everybody I loved. And like vivid, like picturing every detail of how that accident was going to play out.
So your intrusive thoughts were not just surrounding Charlie, they were like your whole tribe.
Yeah.
Good, nice.
It was more so Charlie and Kevin, but then it would be other family members or close friends, like especially if we had just left. Like if we were visiting mom and dad and we were driving away, I'd start getting teary-eyed because I would say, I'm never going to see them again. They're going to get in this horrific car accident and I will never see them again. So that was more so with Charlie. Nora's, when I was pregnant with her, I was getting these crazy intrusive thoughts about Charlie drowning and it'd be worse like when I was in the shower, like when I was doing something with water, because he was going to go on 2 different lake vacations without us. Like right after we had Nora. So horrible. And I'd never had like a drowning. And then when I was with him at the lake that whole summer, I mean, I was just like sure he was going to drown that whole summer. Yeah. And then this one's interesting. I was reading a lot of historical fiction when I was postpartum with Nora and vivid torture, intrusive thoughts. I'm not
surrounding
kidding.
her? Or
That's
what?
correct. My children. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we take this out, but I also feel like these intrusive thoughts can be so horrendous.
Yeah.
I will say after some therapy, the things that help, I would do like the 5 senses. So, I'd have to name something I can see, something I can smell, something I can touch, just to like really ground myself. And also just acknowledging, except for the torture one, that one's like kind of LOL, but acknowledging, yes, this could happen and like we're never completely safe and I can't keep us completely safe and that just needs to be okay. So those were the things that helped.
Oh, it helped for you to say, oh, we're never safe. That's can never
correct.
make this safe. That was constructive for you, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Whew.
So there it is. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, that's pretty wild. I don't know if I have. So my intrusive thoughts are more. I don't really have a theme. Our top deck still gets me. We're like our second story deck where we play and hang out all the time, and Kieran loves it up there with sturdy railings that he can't fit his head through.
Yep.
But I get weird about other adults having him out there, particularly tall adults. I'm like, don't hold him.
Could lift him. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want his head above that railing. Other than that, it's kind of just, what's happening during the day, because that could go south really quickly. Yeah, he might just, that's a big one for me. He might just like not wake up from this nap, which he's so sturdy and robust. Like, what is that?
I know. It's wild.
And it's probably just the rest of our lives. Like the postpartum crazy thoughts were left field, whole body reacting. Like I couldn't logic myself out of them. Now I'm just like, oh, you know what? I think probably I just live with this for the rest of my life. Like when he's 35 and then I'm going to wake up on a Monday and be like, wow, we work from home in 20, whatever it will be at that point. But, what if Kieran gets in a car accident, like driving to the store this morning? It's probably just the life we occupy.
That's one of those things that I'm so impressed with our parents about, because they have always been just huge proponents of like taking the physical risk. Not like crazy stuff, but like, yeah, go backpacking. a lot of like nature related things. And then even like Naomi, our little sister, is going to be a cruise ship musician for 4 months in.
Oh, I've already had intrusive thoughts about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
me too.
And when you would go backpacking, when she would go backpack, every time.
Yeah. But like that must be, tenfold for them. And yet they're just like, yeah, do it. That's incredible. Which I just am so impressed. And I wonder if it's actually that bad for them or if they're like so faith-filled that they're, yeah, I'm curious because they're all for doing the cool things.
I asked Mom about intrusive thoughts when we were babies. And she, as far as I remember, kind of said, what?
That's not real.
No, I know. It can't be.
Wow. So, yeah, I feel like therapy is a really good thing.
But I will say also, a year in, my mind is now fully connected to my body. I think even at 6 months when I was talking about the mind-body connection from me being completely severed, which it was for minimum 4 months, probably 6 though. Probably when I was recording that episode, it was still tenuous at best. Now I think I can actually access my logic and soothe my body with it a little. And that I think is chemical. I think that's hormonal.
And I do. I just think that that's where therapy can be so helpful because hormones are just out of control. That's just how it is. And they're supposed to be that way, but man, yeah, it's a wild ride.
And also, what is postpartum depression? I think it was a couple months ago, I was talking to one of my best friends ever, and I said something along the lines of, yeah, like I think I had postpartum depression like pretty badly and I didn't know it at the time. And that's hard. I don't know if I did or not because I wasn't sad. I know it can be completely deranged and I didn't have any of those symptoms when I looked at the chart at the doctor's office when they were like, have you considered X, Y, and Z? It was no for all of those, but I was so numbed out. I was not curious about the world. I did not want to leave my house for like a year. It took so much energy for me to return texts or call people or return calls. Every small thing felt like climbing a mountain to me in a way where by the time he turned 1, I looked around and was like, wow, I'm kind of curious about the city we live in. Oh, I'm a little curious about, anything I come across in the day would spark interest or engagement. Mm-hmm. And so I was talking to my friend and just saying, yeah, I didn't think so at the time because I wasn't sad, but I think I did have some problems. And she was like, oh, honey, I thought you knew that. Like, I knew that. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I thought you knew.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that to potentially give other women permission to feel however they want to feel, even if it's not sadness or devastation or the ways that we typically think of depression. You can still not be okay, and that's okay.
Pretty normal, even.
Yeah.
And I think, at least for me, that's where it might be really hard to present your mess to someone else, but getting out of your own head by physically being with other moms specifically is just huge because it's a reality check. I think, at least for me, it was this little doorway into like, oh, like I can show up like this and they still want to be around me, and they still care for me. I'm gonna get a little teary-eyed. Like, just knowing that they love me even through that mess because they've also been there. I think that's just so helpful if you can get yourself out that door, and just be with another mom.
What was the difference for you between Nora and Charlie, your experiences?
It was them? That. I had such an easier time with Nora. The chaos was hard. Like, my household was not calm. My laundry was not done. Didn't parent the way I wanted to with Charlie half the time. Like, that was hard. But my mental health was just so much better. First of all, like, I knew that it would get better because I had done it with Charlie, and then he like started talking and he's funny and like I like parenting a toddler and so that was nice. But also I knew that I physically would be feeling like myself again, and I just gave myself permission to like be with friends and have them over even if my house was horrible, and every time I would come around I would just be lighter every time. So
that's cool.
And who knows? It could have been my hormones were just more balanced after Nora too, but I do think those things were really helpful.
So it was a combination of, you did have kind of a roadmap.
I suppose, yeah.
For you'd experienced it before and you knew you could survive it. So when you had a hard day, there was actual proof that this too shall pass.
Yes. Physical, I could see the proof.
Hey, Charlie, come here. Can I have a hug real quick? This too shall pass.
And he probably would say no.
And you're like, oh, great. You can use your words. Thank you for drawing boundaries. I think another big shift for me between the 6-month mark, which is when we last talked, and now is that Kieran has.
That's the last time we talked.
As the last time you and I interfaced.
Not like twice a day. It was.
No, the last time we talked about this subject together. The last time we did a post-mortem on our postpartum.
Yep.
We were in different places. So now I think the biggest thing is he has agency, which is so fun. He's running everywhere. Today I was making pancakes for us for breakfast, and he had pulled over like a crate that I had like a storage crate that I had on the ground, and was climbing up it in order to access our coffee station. Yeah, I mean, he's unhinged. He's all over the place.
He's so funny.
But there's this huge shift for me where now I feel like up until this point, the world has been happening to us, and I've been needing to protect this perfect being. And as he just grows in attitude and stature, he is now happening to the world in a way where I somehow feel better about it.
And, like, do you also feel, like if he falls down the stairs, he's going to survive versus 4 months ago, it was like, that might kill him. Like, those, like, he's bouncing. Thank you for
putting that into my head. Yeah, fight that.
Oh, you already had that one.
20 times a day.
I didn't give you that one.
No, I still think he's probably going to die if he, you know.
Okay. I just feel like when they become more robust, I just am less stressed, too, just about their physical safety.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
No, he is so funny. Also, the visual still makes me chuckle of when we were at your house last, and you and I were trying to work, and Kyle was watching Nora. He was watching the kids, but Charlie was, like, doing his own thing. And Kieran and Nora, this was the first time they'd been together when they can both, like, walk and run. And so he was, like, waddling, doing this funny walk around the house, and they were chasing him in a line, like, in circles, and he just kept saying, "Come on, babies!
Let's go, babies!
Let's go, babies!" And they're just, like, laughing, like, they just look ridiculous. Like, they look so dumb.
Well, Nora's got her little, like, pigtails. They're so cute.
Kieran's got the rolls. Nora's got the pigtails.
So cute.
Funny. Come on, let's go, babies.
Come on, babies. That time we all got COVID. That time we gave you all COVID.
TBD. I think maybe we came with our own brand. We talked about clothes last time, but I think it might be helpful to talk about, like, some specific things that we liked to put on our bodies, or just tips and tricks, because that's just a really hard thing. So, like, I know, especially for me, because our finances are not in a place for me to just, like, buy a whole new wardrobe every time I go through a body change. So that's really tricky, because it's like, when is it worth me spending this money? What do I spend it on? How do I justify this? How do I justify it to Kevin for our finances when we're trying to stick to this kind of tight budget? It's a tricky thing. And I'm a huge thrifter, and I'm not going to be spending, 2 hours at the thrift store during that time. So I think just buying a couple quality pieces of clothing that feel great is worth it. And I had to tell myself that being trendy just really couldn't matter. And I just needed to feel beautiful. Whatever I can do to feel beautiful, because I'm not going to buy something that might be out of style. And I don't normally do that anyways. But, you're not going to be that same size. So it just doesn't make sense. Also it's wasteful. But
classic staples.
Yeah, that make you feel beautiful. And just giving myself permission to literally wear the same outfit 4 days of the week.
Yeah.
I just had to do a lot of laundry because I couldn't afford to have enough things to really have a big variety. And that was different. Like with Charlie, I felt like I needed that. And with Nora, I was like, if I feel good, I'm going to just wear this outfit. And that's fine.
What were your staples?
Actually, I'm still wearing this pair of jeans that actually were from Target. So they weren't expensive, but they're like kind of stretchy, but a nice high waist, but like a wide leg. Thank God for the wide leg in my stage of postpartum right now.
Oh my God. I'm so thrilled about the death of the skinny jeans.
Yes, because they just are hard to look good even on when I'm not postpartum. And then, yeah, when I'm flabby for months, when I didn't expect that to happen in my legs, just my stomach. No, it was my legs too. So yeah, like a high waist silhouette. Although postpartum, that's not even gonna happen. That's probably like at the 6-month mark that those started feeling good. I did a lot of dresses, and they like weren't super cute, but the colors were nice and the material was nice. And I would like put on some nice earrings, and that was enough.
Earrings are game changers.
Yeah, because even nice leggings didn't feel great to me because I really was not at peace with my legs.
Yeah, I'm still there. Used to love a good legging. They are not my friends right now.
Yeah, no, me neither. I just wear them to work out and that's it.
Me too.
Oh, that's the other
I'm
thing.
not working out.
Workout clothes that felt nice. Like a size up legging that at least didn't make me feel horrible. So that I could because if I feel powerful when I'm working out, that's also helpful for me.
It's going to bring you back to the workout room.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess just like a very limited amount of clothes is what I had to do, and that is okay. And actually makes a lot of sense because you're not in that body forever. So like that really will pass, and just get a couple things that feel really great.
I think I'm in that phase now. Things that I really like that I did. I bought a bunch of crop tops when I was pregnant because I just didn't know how to dress myself, and I just rinse and repeat. I had a bunch of colors, but I would wear them with high-waisted leggings, high-waisted bike shorts, high-waisted everything, and they'd ride above my belly, and I'd be like, well, I'm clearly pregnant, folks. You know, I felt good about that. And those are really easy for nursing then.
Yeah.
And like this is one of them actually right here. It's like 100% cotton, and it's got this high neck. Like, is it
neckline.
cute? It's not cute, but
it's like fashion. It's trendy enough that
it's a boxy crop. I mean, will it be fashionable next year? No, it probably won't. But it's been nice too because I have these. Oh, I'm obsessed with these Modella stretchy bras. I mean, they're not even real bras. I hate bras. So they're just these little like 2 little boob pockets. So comfy. And I've been wearing those nonstops for the last year plus.
Still.
Oh, I have one on right now. Yeah. And they're cheap. They're like $20 a bra. Like it's not bad. I think I have 5 of them, and I just rotate all week long. This I can wear with those because they're not peeking at the top looking ratchet.
Mine is the Kindred Bravely everything, but it's expensive. So that's just like a thing. But they're minimalist, like contour bra. So it's like a fixed padding bra. And I just wear it even not pregnant, but there's no underwire. And it just like it's like nicely supportive in a comfortable way and just makes me feel not as saggy, but I'm very comfortable and just, yeah. So I will
That's my going out in public bra.
Yes.
Except that I still wear these other Modella bras. I think they're
also
Modella.
in public. That's funny.
Oh yeah, like I couldn't care less. No one else knows what I'm wearing under there. It's completely about comfort. And the fact that the Kindred Bravely ones have hooks in the backs and like, you know, they're like, it's basically a real bra. I'm like, too much. So yeah, when I want to feel like an adult, that's the bra I wear. Also love it. And they're cute too. You can get like lacy ones. It's really nice. So I really invested in athleisure staples.
Yeah.
And then as I've been going out into the world more, I've been really grateful that in my past professional lives, I made it a point to get as many professional sweatpants as possible. So I have these like really cute drapey, I don't know, like wide leg pants. Like I've got all different shapes and colors, and they actually fit me now. Like who knew my quest for professional comfort
there you go
led me right into, well, at least they fit me even if I don't feel like I love my silhouette in them. I feel put together, you know.
Yeah, don't try to shove yourself in something too small. I've done that and it's just horrible. It's just,
yeah, not a fan.
Don't do that to yourself.
I don't even know about other hacks. I think it's just hard. I think were I to do it again, I recently discovered Newly, which is Anthro's. Actually, my friend Christine has been telling me about it for like years. It's $100 a month or around there, and you can rent different clothes.
Oh, that's cool.
And they're used, and you can kind of build up this closet, and when something comes available, you just get it shipped to you, and you can ship it right back, or you can buy it, but it's used. So you feel better about sustainability and all of that. If you love the piece.
That's cool.
And they're good for short people. They have a short people section.
Wow.
And a pregnancy section.
Is it like Stitch Fix where they'll just send you something they think you'll like, or do you pick
No,
out every month?
you pick out every single piece.
Huh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my other one, it's like earrings and shoes for me, because your feet are only going to be slightly bigger than they were, likely. So, and they may not go back.
Mine did not go back, and they got so huge.
Kind of so huge. What are you, a 6?
No, like fat.
Oh.
Like water. Yeah, I'm a 6 now. But I meant they got girthy.
But you're maybe 5 foot tall, so it's proportion. Yeah, you did. They got real big.
Little foot sausages.
Like, kind of scary.
They were horrifying. Literally like months after pregnancy, because they were still huge postpartum for months and months and months. I don't remember which month it was, but at one point I was like sitting on the couch with Kyle, and he just looked at my feet and teared up. He was like, I just realized your feet are back.
Because you do have like nice, petite, you have very pretty feet, I feel like.
Thank you. So nice. I like my feet.
Oh, that's funny. My last little theme to talk about is just physical recovery, because it's so important to me to feel physically good. But I think I realized after Nora that I just needed to treat my body differently. I didn't fully come to terms with that after Charlie. So really actually like trusting that that's true is really helpful for me. And I hope I just like embrace that right away next time around. Also, I still haven't nailed the nutrition piece. So if you have any
do you mean
suggestions?
You don't know what to put in your body that's nutritious, or you have an idea and you've not been able to execute that?
I've not been able to execute based on time and motivation. So like I eat a lot of those little Chobani yogurts, because I finally came to terms with like added sugar just being okay, because I wasn't eating the tubs of Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt in the big tub. Like I just wasn't doing it, and I needed nutrients. And I just had headaches frequently because I wasn't getting the right nutrients breastfeeding. And you just need to eat pretty correctly, I think, when you're breastfeeding to feel good. At least for me.
Yeah.
It's not just quantity. Like my quantity was fine. It was the quality.
What does correctly look like to you?
Just like enough protein and enough produce. Like carbs and dairy, easy for me to eat. Like even healthy carbs and dairy, like a lot of whole grains. I like whole grains. Dairy, great. But it's that the veg, even the fruit, and like enough meat, because you have to prep that stuff. It's the stuff that you have to prep that's hard.
I'm really trying to dial in our meal prep. Like this is going to be my era of a solid meal prep, because I feel so much better, more energy, everything when I have a ton of protein. And lean protein is hard, but I'm trying really hard to try new things. So maybe I'll start documenting that, and maybe I will, because my MO, I loved cooking. It's been therapy for me. Kyle and I were single parents, and by single parents, I mean like just married to each other for 7 years prior to having Kieran.
Yeah, we're not parents.
Yeah, we're not parents. Sorry, single married people.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
For some reason.
No, not single.
No. Literally, for some reason, couples who don't have children like live in this space in my head of like, oh no, they're just a single couple. like they're still single. Like they're still like having fun and like going out and like doing whatever they want. They're single.
Allowed to be selfish. I think
I've caught myself being like, oh yeah, no, our single friends. And in my head, they're a unit as a couple.
So funny. Yeah.
But I've caught myself saying that to Kyle, and I'm like, that is incorrect. Like our friends Christina and Ryan, love them so much. They will not be having children. But like, oh yeah, but they're single. Like they're single with each other.
With each other.
So anyways, when Kyle and I were single together.
That's so funny.
I would cook these amazing, like elaborate meals on a weeknight, and that was so fun for me. And now it's just not fun for me because I'm prying literally Kieran off of our wall, or off of our pot rack, or, every 2 seconds. So I'm trying new things. Like last night was pretty good. It was tilapia, which traditionally I think is the most useless protein because like not fun. Like why nobody wants it? Like what, you have to like dip it in cornflakes for it to taste good? Like I don't think so. But I bought a bunch of it from Costco, so I'm committed to it now. I drenched it in olive oil and taco spices.
Yeah. I was going to say,
and it was
that's
so
the move.
good. You bake that in 15 minutes. I'm like, oh, this is why all those nutritious like bodybuilders, whatever, are obsessed with tilapia. It's lean, took 2 seconds. Actually, the texture was delicious. So I feel like there are all these food categories I've been hating on. We're going to give them a try.
Like chicken's not so bad.
Yeah, I'm still pretty picky. I love a well done chicken. Like there's so many ways to make chicken great.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing those ways, I struggle with chicken.
So I also have picky eaters in my household. Eaters plural, because it's including my husband. So it's really hard for me to cook a lean, nutritious meal. I've gotten pretty good at a heavy, nutritious meal, but a lean, nutritious meal is hard still because no fish.
Yeah,
like,
I was eating this tilapia and I was literally like, is this fish?
Yeah,
Do
we
I
always
taste
say
anything?
that.
I can't taste anything. I'm like, I taste taco spices. Like I don't, and listen, I don't even use like prepackaged taco spices usually. And this was the high end, like Milwaukee market spice. I love it. It's a great blend.
Oh, but you bought a blend. It's a blend.
I bought a blend. That's new for me.
Yeah.
Not like the taco.
It's not like McCormick's. Like
No, it's really good. But I was like, you can't taste the fish. Like you really can't even taste the fish. I don't understand how people would not like that. It was like the blandest thing I put in my mouth, except for those taco spices.
Maybe I'll try again. Yeah, that's a tough one. And like even just like snacks are hard. I do like those. Again, it's just like carbs, but oat peanut butter ball things. I've made
the
those.
Kodiak.
No, I've just made it like myself sometimes with like some flax or something, and you freeze them and just like have those around. Like when I was teaching full time, I'd have those on hand. Like there are things that I've done that are helpful. But it's hard to carve out that time to prep that. I just bought organic baby carrots because I eat carrots if I buy the little ones in a bag. And I just need to give myself permission to do that and not think about how they made them little with rounded edges and where the skins went. I just need to like eat some carrots.
In your dream day or week, where you have all the time and resources, what are you eating as a nursing mother?
A lot of like soup situations and honestly a lot of fish. Like I love fish. And bread.
But like walk me through breakfast, lunch, dinner.
I'm really into oatmeal. So breakfast would probably include an oatmeal situation and like an egg just for protein. I don't really love meat in the morning. So like probably a couple fried eggs and like a bowl of oatmeal. But the oatmeal probably would have like some nice berries on it, like some some good stuff for you in there. And or like an avocado, like spinach egg situation. Like egg with veg and avocado is good. And then lunch, I'm good with leftovers. Like I'm pretty flexible, but lunch does need to be like meat for sure for me. Or I need to figure out how to have non-meat protein, but a vegetable. Like I just need more vegetables in there. And snacks need to be, I'm fine with like cheese and like an apple for a snack. Like I'm okay with, it doesn't have to be fancy. And yeah, dinner when I'm nursing, yeah, it's got to be enough. Like I'm hungry. Like I could probably eat a chicken breast. Like that much meat when I'm nursing. Like that's a lot of meat.
It is a lot of meat.
But I could put that back probably and actually feel better.
I'll work on some meal prep ideas for us.
That'd be great. Yeah, because I have some go-tos and I'm tired of them. And again, like I can share some like nice heavy ones that my family will eat because there's enough like cream or cheese involved. And they're still nutritious.
Wait, what happens if you just say this is what you're eating for dinner?
There will not be verbal complaints from my husband, but he like won't eat enough.
Oh, he just straight up won't eat it.
Like he'll have a couple bites so that the kids think he's eating it.
And then what?
And then he'll be hungry. And then he'll eat like some stupid cereal or something because he's starving once the kids go to bed and he can finally eat junk food.
Oh.
Yeah, which like I'm not okay with him dying of cancer because he ate junk food his whole life.
And those two are for sure correlated. Yeah.
So anyways.
Well, that brings me to one of my points, which is there's this shift, I think, after when your baby stops becoming so helpless, and maybe I became less helpless. I can be honest about that. Shift in Kyle's parenting. I feel like in the beginning, like last time we spoke, 6 months in, he was still extreme nurturer for Kieran and me. And now it's more that I feel like Kyle and I are on equal footing in terms of assessing each other's needs, fulfilling those, making sure each other are cared for and doing well, and then also parenting Kieran. There's more equal opportunity for us to be involved in whatever he's doing, which is just so nice. And it's this exercise of letting go for me. I'm starting to finally have that feeling more and more where he has a different idea about parenting. And I'm like, oh, there's no reason I can think of where my idea is better than yours. It is different, but ought to let you have this one. because this little baby is not as attached to me. It's kind of fun. I do think in marriage you parent each other a little bit. And I don't mean in an unhealthy way. Like I think it could get unhealthy. That's not what I mean. I just mean that you are caretakers for each other. You've entrusted yourselves into another person's care.
And we both got married pretty young. I mean, we were both 24, 25, 24.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So young. So it's honestly kind of fun to feel like him caring for me is not born out of necessity anymore. It's born out of love and want.
That's
and
funny.
To have more capacity to care for him again.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling. I'm really enjoying that transition back into what I know of my marriage.
Kevin and I think we might start having like a monthly Tuesday afternoon date because I work in the morning, so we have childcare on Tuesday, and then I usually work from home in the afternoon. But even just like taking our lunch, like 45 minutes, if he can get out of work, and us just taking that time, like, why didn't we do this months ago? But we can, and I don't need to like get back to nurse a baby, or like, I'm just actually gonna stop my work day and go out to lunch with you and then like do a little more work, and then we can parent again. It's really nice. We did it yesterday for the first time, and it was just really nice. Actually, we took the dog for a walk, and it was so funny. Hazel was like she was like looking at us like, Mom, Dad, like, where's the stroller? Where are the kids? Like, she like couldn't figure her shit out on like probably for a whole block of this walk. We were just cracking
Where are the babies?
Up. Yeah.
Where are my babies?
So funny.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
It
Well, you
really
know
cute.
that you're in some sort of situation when the dog's confused when you have a date.
That's correct. That's a good check-in point.
I'm like, yeah, when was the last time Kyle and I had a date? I don't know. But, I mean, Kieran's a little less. He's not talking to us when we go for walks. Like
Yeah.
Charlie, you know, like, I think it's a little different. But I would like to go on dates also.
Mm-hmm.
Dates are nice. I miss them.
I'm going to give you permission. You could go on a date.
Thank you. It's really kind. Oh, wait. I have a bone to pick with you. You called me yesterday and you said you were talking to me about this mom that you interfaced with at some point in your life. And you were like, yeah, I mean, she's an older mom. And I was like, okay, what do you mean? Like she had a baby old? And you were like, no. I mean, her kids are school aged. And I was like, okay, what do you mean by older mom? And you were like, oh, like late 30. No, actually, she's probably mid 30. Oh,
No.
she's your age.
You're twisting the order of what I said. I said older mom, probably in her 30s. Then I laughed about it. And I was like, what I mean by older mom is that she has school-age kids. Kids? School-aged kids. So I should say a more experienced mom. Is that better?
Okay, yeah, way to just be more PC about it. No, you were going on and on about this older mom in her 30s.
But no, the point was not her age. The point was that her kids are older. What were we talking about?
I don't even remember. I just told you what I took away from that interaction. Offended.
You're looking great. You're looking.
I'm
you're
22.
glowing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mhm.
I will forever be 22.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say I'm blooming?
I said you're glowing.
Oh.
Any other things we need to remind ourselves? When we listen back to this episode, when we are a month postpartum, anything else we need to tell ourselves?
Well, I'll have number 2, so I think I'll just be sitting there being like, you lucky, lucky bitch, you didn't know how good you had it.
No, I don't think so. People say that. I don't know. I mean, yeah, you know number 2 is going to be chaos. But it's not but it's not any harder because you've already done it once. Like, it might be physically harder. Like, maybe I'm more tired. But it's not mentally any harder because you, like, ripped off the Band-Aid of not having kids to having kids.
That's fair. That's fair. No, I don't know. I think I'm sitting in a really great position of hope and excitement and curiosity. 14 months postpartum. I feel like I have the capacity and the energy and yeah, I'm in a good headspace. And it took me a long time to get here.
Insert
and
that you're getting over COVID. So it may not sound like
Yeah.
those things are true.
Yeah, you know, aside from my visit from the Rona, I just, light at the end of the tunnel. Everything all in its own good time.
I actually think that I would really like to have a baby in the fall or winter if possible this time around because I just like am more likely to cocoon during that season. And I have a really hard time in the summer realizing that, you know, maybe this isn't the summer that I'm taking walks every day. You know, that like everything in its own good time is harder for me in the summer. So I think that concept would be easier for me in a time that people just kind of want to hunker down anyways. So I'm going to try that, hopefully. We'll see.
Best of luck. Keep me posted.
So I will.
And on that note,
Love you.
love you. Bye.
You've been listening to The Real Mom Hub. Our music is by Naomi O'Leary. You can find us on social at The Real Mom Hub. We're not the authority or even very educated on the medical issues discussed. Do your own research, talk to an expert, make your own decisions, and call us if you learn anything new.
If you like what you hear, follow us on Instagram, or better yet, subscribe to our newsletter. If you don't, that's fine. We can all move on. Our purpose here is community, so if we've resonated with you, tell a friend.
Thanks for listening.